So I am Santi Garces. I'm the Chief Information Officer for the City of Boston, and we're very glad to have you here. And so just get to it. We also have some great members of our digital equity team. We have Viola and Ariel helping us at the entrance. We have obviously Peter Favorito, who has been kind and making sure that you're all well taken care of while we got here. And then we have our Chief of Digital Equity, Brian Donahue, who's in the back. He likes to be behind scenes. And we have some other members of the Do It team, Michael Wong and Shelby as well. Am I missing? Oh, well, obviously, our great network, cable team that is making sure that this is recorded and shared with people broadly. So we'll get started. So first, we are here on a special day because today marks the anniversary of the marathon bombing, which is now we commemorated as One Boston Day, where as our mayor in recognition for what happened, we are called to try to do things that bring us together and celebrate ourselves as a community and a community that can come together to address difficult, complicated things in times of need. And I think that we all recognize that these are challenging times, and the work that we do is all the more important than ever because there are people that feel disconnected, they feel like they don't have where to turn. And thanks to the work that you and your organizations do, you're able to connect people with the resources that they need with the digital connectivity and devices. So just, and we wanted to share with you a couple of things. So the information that we're going to share with you, you're the first people outside of the city to see it. And we want to get your takes and opinions, and we will be releasing these, the information that we're going to share broadly. But our request to you is like, one, give us your thoughts before we make it public. And two, if you want to comment and share some of your perspectives when we issue the press release or we share this more broadly, Shelby would love to get a quote from you guys as well. So I want to make sure that we got that out. So let's dig in. Any questions before we start? No? Good. Cool. All right. Evidently, Peter prepared a better deck than I was ready for. So obviously, we have the message from the mayor on One Boston Day. So let's start by sharing why we did the survey. So one of the challenges that we have when we're doing the work that you help us do is that the reality is that Boston is a place where there's a lot of resources for people to be connected. And generally, if you take a look at the city as a whole, we're a fairly well-connected city. We're a city where there's usually a lot of choice around what provider you want to get connected to. There's great community assets like the libraries, the community centers to get access to devices, and there's a lot of training and programming. But you know this better than we do, but we know that there are gaps. There are places and there are people and communities that don't have access to different parts of the components that make digital access successful. They either cannot afford internet connectivity at home, the connectivity might be of poor quality, they might lack the right device to do the right thing, so maybe they have access to a smartphone, but they need to have a laptop to be able to do homework. And they might lack some of the skills and resources to be able to do the work that they need in a way that's successful. So for us, partially what our team does is build all of the tools that enable people to connect to government services. But that's an incomplete promise if the people that benefit from those services can't access the services, if they can't reach us. So we worked with the state of Massachusetts, with the Mass Broadband Institute, and with some really amazing partners to do this survey, where we got a large group of people from across the city, but we also targeted specific groups that we had concerns that we thought that might be experiencing digital gaps, and we went and did additional surveying of those groups, and then we adjusted the results that we got to make sure that they're representative based on the population. So it is a very rigorous survey. It's a survey that we feel that gives us a lot of great information, very accurate information about what types of gaps exist where. And we hope that you tell us if the results seem to make sense or if there are pieces that are missing. The other part is the results of the survey are going to be used in two ways. The first one is we will share with you today a draft. It is not a public draft. It is a very preliminary draft of our digital equity plan, where we articulate what are the strategies that we will be taking to try to address the digital divide, which includes all of you, because you all help us make sure that we're delivering the resources that people need. And the second piece is, like, again, just it helped knowing where the gaps are and what types of gaps exist, help us make sure that we're putting resources where we have the biggest impact. And we are looking at a financial situation that's much more complicated and difficult than we had a few years ago. I think if you've heard the mayor talk about this, we're going at a place where we're not cutting services, but we're being very careful because the federal government has a negative impact in our ability to provide the resources and the services that we expect. And a lot of the work that we've been doing with you guys has also been supported by the federal government through the state government, through us. So we have less money, so we have to be smarter about how we use the money to connect. So without further ado, we looked at the three kind of components that we look at digital equity usually, so around connectivity, internet access, access to devices, and digital literacy and skills. So again, key takeaways. Generally, Boston's a place that is well connected, but there are some groups that do experience a bigger gap. About 24% of people said that they expressed concerns about affordability, and we know that usually the people, and the data shows that there's a relationship between people that need government assistance or subsidized housing, expressing concerns around affordability of internet service or having lower connectivity rates than others, which makes sense, right? If you are receiving Social Security, if you're on Medicare, Medicaid, is less likely that you have money to spare to be able to connect. So kind of makes sense, but now we have the ability of measuring about like what that gap is and what populations experience that. We have heard that about 25% of people are reporting that they have poor quality of internet connectivity. And again, this tends to align with people that are living in subsidized housing. Why? Because more than likely, the buildings and the units where they live have not been retrofitted. They don't have the right wiring. It might be that if you're living in a multi-dwelling unit, you don't really have choice, even though there's a couple of different alternatives going outside of your door. You don't have the choice of choosing who your provider is because the building owner has not entered an agreement to let you, choose other providers. About 50% of people express the need for better training and skills. And again, we know that there's some gaps around the kinds of people that feel confident using technology. And for us, and with your help, we know that it is not only about providing access, but we know that we want to give people access to the resources to use these tools safely. When you're connected, it's great, but you're also exposed to phishing, you're exposed to fraud, you're exposed to other things that are not great. And we need to make sure that people have the skills to be able to use technology safely. But seniors, veterans, people that live in public housing, people with Latin American descent, like myself, all feel a little bit less likely to feel comfortable using technology. And again, populations that the data shows that still have the biggest gaps are people that receive government assistance, people that live in public housing, and returning citizens, which again, is also something that makes sense. Like if people have been incarcerated, they might not have had access to the experience of using technology in the day-to-day, but those are some of the people that are trying to rebuild their lives, get access to opportunities. So some of the people that likely will have the biggest benefit of being connected and having the right resources. So we'll share the results of the survey. We're going to share it publicly, but we'll send you a link later that has the results of the survey, which again, we ask, I think, about 60 questions, and we have them broken down. We're sharing the aggregated numbers, not like the individual responses, but we have them aggregated again by income, by race and ethnicity, by country of origin, just so that you could see. And for us, it's a equalizer of knowing what are the populations, what are the issues, and you can start seeing whether there's a particular issue around connectivity, around programming, around devices. And our invitation to you is, again, we are committed to try to address this issue. So to the extent that the programs that you are doing and that you can come up with help us drive solutions to where we know the problem is, all the better. Which brings us to the digital equity plan. 1 second, sorry. We power walked from City Hall here, so I need a little. So we went and did this survey, but we didn't stay just with the survey. We also worked with, again, thanks to MBI and other people, we were able to work with CTC, which is one of the consultants, and HRIA to be able to talk. We had community, we had focus groups, we had interviews, and some other engagement. And out of the results of the survey, plus this other engagement, plus some of the work that we've been doing collectively, they've come up with the following recommendations. And this is kind of the basis of what our proposal to you and to the city around how is it that we think that we can bridge the digital divide and create opportunity for everyone. So we know that there's a need to drive affordable and high quality internet into subsidized housing. And that's an area, like making sure that low income people have convenient and high quality access to internet is a key part of the problem. So key way of how we can address the issue. We have a gap that was left by the limited amount of funding that we received through the Affordable Connectivity Program. So thanks to the work that Peter, Viola, and we were very successful in Boston. We were able to recruit more people in Boston compared to the rest of the Commonwealth to join the Affordable Connectivity Program. But the Affordable Connectivity Program is no more, and we need to figure out other strategies. So we need to figure out how is it that we get low-cost, high-speed broadband to residents, particularly, again, people that live in subsidized housing. There are some strategies that they recommend that we could pursue, and we can share some of the things that we've been working on. But again, this is an invitation. You're our thought partners, you're partners in this. If there are things that you think that we should be doing, we want to hear from you. Again, working on, well, look at that, the last piece is working with you all. Again, there's some recommendations around using refurbished devices to enable better connectivity and access to the right device to people that are low income, making sure that we work together to enable access to digital literacy classes in our community centers and in other community spaces. So, Peter already had the grid. No? Keep going. Yeah. Good things, Peter. I told you, Peter has a better deck than I even remembered. So, again, continue to make improvements on the community spaces and the technology that we provide there. Like, we want to make sure that if a kid is going to BCYF to learn how to program, that the computer that they're using is a computer that works, that reliably is able to do the kinds of things they're trying to do. Working on encouraging the Boston Housing Authority to build 4 additional computer rooms. So obviously we work very closely with Administrator Kenzie Bach and with her team to try to do these things. So this is a recommendation. Working to continue to increase access to devices through the long-term lending program that is run out of here, the Boston Public Library, and expand free Wi-Fi at community and transportation hub. So one thing that is interesting that's reflected in the results of the survey, but also in data that we collect about the usage of Wicked Free Wi-Fi, is I think low-income residents are twice as likely to use wicked-free Wi-Fi than the average person. It works. And when we see the metrics, we see that there's like thousands of people that are connecting our community centers or in transit hubs. So our ability to expand access, and again, it might be as simple as being able to be on your phone to go and look, see when the train's coming, to see if the green line's running, so you're not late for your appointment. Or just check your email and stay in touch with folks is something that's really important, and it's another recommendation. So again, things that we've been working on in partnership, and I just reiterate, this is all the work product of you and of our team, so I'm just here to MC. But we're working very closely with the Boston Housing Authority and also with other affordable housing providers to try to leverage funding that is coming from the state to be able to do apartment retrofit, to be able to build connectivity into affordable housing units, and to be able to provide connectivity as well in common areas using wicked-free Wi-Fi. So you're the first to know that we're trying to work with MBI and others to do that. Again, working with you all, because part of the way that we connected with you is because we work closely with some of these other offices that work with you in other capacities. But again, working with the Office of Returning Citizens, with BPL, Immigrant Advancement, and others to continue to provide access to the right skills to the right people. And again, we're hoping to be able to continue the work that we're doing with the Digital Equity Fund and continue to get resources. So, all right, some other things is that Peter just got all the good stuff. So working on making sure that we're creating resource hubs, so like a page where we're able to point people into all of the different resources that are available for people in the community, whether it's connectivity, it's devices, training, be able to connect people that might be served by the programs that you guys are running with you. Being able to make sure, again, like aligning on our assessment of those those technology spaces that are focused towards the community, making sure that people know that there might be a computer near them that they could go use at a BCYF location. And again, being able to tell people where is it that we're expanding Wi-Fi, and if we have the opportunity to continue to expand Wi-Fi in other places where people need it and would benefit, to try to do that. So, yeah, you want to share the example? I could share it. All right, well, I'll stop talking, and we'll let Peter and Brian tell you about the results of the Digital Equity Fund, but just an example again of the work that we've been doing. And we've been working closely with our equity cabinet, with our economic opportunity cabinet, and with community members to understand where these opportunities are. But Wicked Free Wi-Fi is a program that the city has had for a long time. But since Mayor Wu started as mayor, and I got the chance of having the privilege of working with you all, we decided to really focus on bringing this asset to the people that we thought needed it the most. So the thought is people that have limited access to data, that are waiting for transit or for, they're out and about, making sure that we're putting the resources where people need them the most. So we've been expanding. Now we have over 300 access points that are distributed throughout the community. We upped the speed of Wicked Free Wi-Fi, and we've also made some improvements to the connectivity, to security, for safety for people that are using this resource. And again, we're excited to work with you all and share a little bit more about how these things are shaping and making these a part of conversation. When we were working with the Mattapan Square Planning Task Force, one of the things that we heard from community members, that the main streets there, were asking, they want to be better connected with City Hall. They want to make it easier for people to get access to resources. So one of the things that we said, this might be a great opportunity for us to expand Wicked Free Wi-Fi because there's a need and people are asking for this. So, nice map of where we have wicked free Wi-Fi. And again, part of our hope is to make this a little bit easier for people that might be looking for a place where they can connect. Well, I guess this is where we have completed installation. But some of these are not public yet. Listen, like we haven't been advertising that we have expanded wicked free Wi-Fi, and we're working on changing designs and all this stuff. But I'll just tell you, when we look at the data of usage, people are using it. As in, like 6,000 people per month use wicked free Wi-Fi in Nubian Square. That is not trivial. And we continue to work on expanding and trying to bring connectivity. Obviously, all of this is done by real human beings that go out there, like Peter and Viola and others that are engaging and trying to get feedback about like how these resources might help. So I will pass it on to Peter, Brian, to Peter to share about the results of the work that we, as in you, have been collectively doing on the Digital Equity Fund for the past 6 months. So just wanted to share. Foremost, thank you. I think that the information that Peter's going to share with you is like super exciting. It shows that you are having an incredible impact on the people that need these resources the most. And we couldn't do it without you. And we need more of your help and more of your guidance as we start shaping the work that we do. So we have good news to share with you all.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Santi mentioned, my name is Peter Favorito, Senior Digital Equity Manager, the guy who's been in your inboxes about all the progress reports and Digital Equity Fund updates and today's event, so on and so forth. So we thank you again for completing the 6-month Digital Equity Fund progress reports. It allowed us to see just how much progress has been made, literally progress, because it's in the name, in just 6 months, and see exactly how the funding is being used and the impact it's been having on our communities across the city. And so without further ado, let's dive into it. So as you can see, this first graph talks about which focus populations are being served, and it's wide ranging. And we knew that we wanted to make sure that with this Digital Equity Fund that we were trying to cover as many populations as we possibly could, and identifying projects that did exactly that. And so, as you can see, a great chunk of projects are focusing on adults, older adults especially, individuals who are members of a racial or ethnic minority. That's what's listed down at down a little bit lower. Immigrants, residents of public housing, all that's, and so on and so forth. And so we're really hitting the demographics that we set out to focus on at the outset. And so we, going to continue on, but we're just, the testament to the work that you're doing and the efforts that you guys put in every single day. So as you can see, this is a neighborhood breakdown of the where all these efforts are being focused. Great distribution across the city, especially in our in priority areas such as Dorchester, Mattapan, Hyde Park, Jamaica Plain, and so this is just so you all can see where exactly the work is taking place. Next up, this is some actual data. For everything that you submitted to us, we compiled it and put some of the data on this slide just so you can visualize it and see just how much of an impact you've been having. So the number of residents who have requested information about low-cost internet options, free or refurbished devices, as well as computer classes, just under 3,000, so 2,915. For those who are doing device refurbishment work, the number of devices that have been refurbished, 869. Number of devices distributed across the board, 1,254. The number of residents receiving digital navigation services. So this includes all the classes that are being taught, all the one-on-one support that's being offered, 9,374, and that's a big deal. That's really impressive, and it really extends, the reach that we try to have on our digital equity team, and so it's just a testament to the missions that you all have, within your respective organizations, and so just commend you all for reaching that amount of people. The number of residents learning new digital skills that meet a particular need, such as logging on to a telehealth appointment, 1,119. And the number of households adopting internet usage who were previously unable to, 1,355. Which is big, because and this is only in 6 months. So as we're going through the rest of the year, for those who have that 1 year performance period, it'll be great to see how the rest of the year pans out. For those who have the 2 year performance period, with the telehealth and device refurbishment work, we're excited to see their great work to continue as well into 2026. But yeah, so this is just a high level overview of the data that was submitted and collected, just for you all to see and understand. And so it's a big thank you. We really cannot do this work without you, and all the goals that we laid out earlier in the presentation and that were recommended to us. This is part of that, and you're an extension of our team, and you're an extension of our digital equity family. That's really how we view you. So yeah, so moving on, we can, not only are we, gathering in times like this, after this presentation, I'd like to have, a handful of you come up and share some updates. So folks, because obviously it's one thing for us to review all the progress reports and to understand exactly what you guys are doing, but it'd be great to have, a handful of you come up and talk about the work you're doing so that others in the room can learn about it. And so brave souls, come forth, not just yet, but after in due time. But we'd be remiss if we didn't take this opportunity to plug some other key events that are coming your way in terms of City of Boston technology, innovation and technology. And so coming up on April 30th, we have the Climate Tech on the Plaza. So this is a great opportunity to join Boston's climate community to explore innovative tech at City Hall Plaza. It's from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., literally right. I'm saying City Hall Plaza over and over again, but it's right there. But this is a great in coordination with our environment department and climate resiliency teams, and there's some great work that's going on between departments, and it'll be great, showing and a lot of technology and opportunities just to explore what's out there in terms of climate tech. And additionally, if you'd like to support our budget proposal, you can most certainly do that. Coming up on May 1st at 10 a.m. You can either do it in person. I think you're able to do it via Zoom still, in the City Council chambers at City Hall. Is our the Department of Innovation and Technology budget hearing, FY26 budget hearing. So if you're passionate and you'd like to come up and support us and or share a few words, you're most certainly welcome to do so. It's testimonials from folks like you that really enable us to continue doing the work and fund the services that we have for residents, and so any help is greatly appreciated. And so just wanted to plug those two events coming up, and hopefully we'll see you there. Yeah, that's about it. That's the size of it. So that's it from us. I'll stop talking and rambling. But like I mentioned, I'd like to turn it back over to Santi. But yeah.
I'll just thank you again, Peter, and a big round of applause. And thanks, Peter, for. If you haven't figured out, Peter makes all the magic happen. I just get to go and I read the wonderful slides that he's put together. But I think if you have questions or thoughts before we turn it over to you to present and talk a little bit about the work that you guys are doing, we would love to hear and learn what's going on. But if you have thoughts, reactions, questions about what's going on.
You specifically mentioned a few priority populations for some of the outreach efforts. One thing that I'm interested in, a lot of the focus in those slides has been around broadband access, and you also mentioned fixed location Wi-Fi access. I was wondering if there's any current or upcoming attempts to do more like hotspot-based programs, especially for folks that don't have fixed addresses or who may be housing insecure. I'm thinking specifically about the returning citizens population because I think it's pretty common for that to be an issue, finding long-term stability in their housing situation that would allow for consistent internet access.
Yeah. That's something that I think that appears somewhat in the data, that there's gaps again in covering population that are housing insecure. I think that for us, there's two pieces. One, it's a great reflection. We'll go back and look and see what is it that we're trying to do from a programming standpoint to enable hotspot access. I know that the team recently partnered with Crown Castle to give 100 access points, hotspots to people that benefit from that kind of solution. The other pieces again is like we're trying to make sure that if people are in for subsidized housing, that they're able to connect, preferably not have to jump through a lot of hoops, and instead like be able to access the right resources without having to deal with like all the onerous things about like setting service. But it's a great reflection. I will take a look and consider it. I think it's a good point. Yes, we'll share the slides after, and then again we'll send you the link to, again, just it's not public, and we're gonna do a press release, but your partners, and we want to get your thoughts and reactions before we like go and release this stuff to the broader public. But we'll share again the results of the survey, as well as the draft of the plan as well, shared separately. Yeah, cool. But again, if you have questions or thoughts, come. Well, you know how to get a hold of us. We'll be around, but we would love to hear if people want to come and share a little bit about. You know, all of these are just numbers, but you work with the people that really matter and are getting served by this. So we'd love to hear a little bit about your experience, what's working, what's not working, what are unexpected challenges, what are things that are surprising and delightful. That'd be nice too. Hearing good things is not a bad thing on days like today. But yeah, so come on and let's celebrate and commemorate the One Boston Day by being together and sharing how is it that we're trying to connect every person in Boston. Just come up. There's no need to.
All right, come on up. Everyone wants to go. Podium is yours.
Hi everyone, thank you. Thank you, City of Boston, for doing this. And my name's Aden. I'm from Asian American Civic Association in Chinatown. And, you know, many of our population is limited English speaking. You know, we do specialize in Chinese speaking populations, but really our client base is as diverse as the city itself. So, you know, this initiative has helped us do a lot of very specialized, targeted workshops that really take into account the language barriers that people face. So we've been doing kind of like series of workshops and also like embedding a lot of these digital ideas and everything into our ESL program, and we have like more than 10 levels of ESL. So it helps us, you know, connect to people of all, you know, proficiency levels. And you know, just as a side note too, we recently launched an entrepreneur program, and so we were very surprised actually that many people who are starting their own business, and again, many of these are from non-native speaking backgrounds. A lot of them did vocalize like, I need, you know, this kind of basic computer literacy. They had trouble, you know, just doing basic emails to us back and forth. And again, this was like a recurring thing. We do other job training programs and things. And, you know, the whole purpose is to help people financially mobilize to get jobs and things, but they get stuck at, how do I fill out this application, or just the basic etiquette. So this is really super important. And, just as another update too, we've had a lot of inquiries about learning about AI. And, the way I see AI too is that it can facilitate so many things, and again, thinking of language barriers. We'll be starting some special workshops on those, and maybe going forward to, if that's something you'd maybe like to think about. That's what we're doing. So thank you again so much, and yeah.
Okay, testing. Trying to figure out optimal distance from this microphone. So my name is Maxwell Cheesem. I'm with Maverick Landing Community Services out in East Boston. Maverick Landing is the name of the housing development that we're sort of situated in the middle of. The housing is, for large part, public housing, but it's privately managed. So a lot of times we have residents that just have less connection to some of the resources that are sort of directly city managed, like at the BPS managed sites, which have sort of this more inline connection with the city offices. One thing we've definitely noticed lately is that a lot of people, a lot of elderly folks are concerned about accessing their benefits. Social Security has had really long phone wait times, and it's been increasingly important that they get support for how to set up an online account and how to check things about their benefits online. But of course, one of the big challenges with that, I think we alluded to this earlier, is that the internet is rife with scams. And so we definitely notice that that's another big need for folks in our population, is that when they get phone calls or emails, they need to know how to recognize whether it's someone that they can trust or not, and make sure that they're not giving personal information to untrustworthy folks. I'll also say, within the scope of our digital literacy programming, we do a lot of work with returning citizens as well as our ESL classes. I think one thing we've definitely seen as well is that that device access has been getting a lot tougher lately. We had a pretty reliable partnership for a long time that was able to provide free devices for learners, but the spigot has sort of turned off on that in a lot of ways. And so the funds from this program were really helpful in helping us be able to bridge that gap and make sure that we were able to continue to provide services to all the people that need them within that community. I'd also just sort of like to say that it's really positive seeing sort of these other efforts that dovetail. One of those slides about the Wicked Free Wi-Fi had a photo from Maverick Square, which is really quite near to us. So seeing that there's sort of more hubs, and not necessarily in the places you would think, is really important information, and it's great to see that getting shared here so that we can share it out to our broader community. We do have a lot of people that come to our office just to print things, just to fax things, just because they need to submit a particular form to recertify their housing or to continue to be on Mass Health. And there's a lot of those sort of daily activities that are so important for people and are so simple to accommodate so long as you have sort of the physical infrastructure to support it. So I think that that's really important to see that continuing to be done sort of across the board, both in our sort of nonprofit space, but also in the public sphere of the City of Boston's efforts. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, my name is Godwin. I'm from NAMSA. NAMSA stands for Nigerian American Multi-Service Association. We're based in Hyde Park. three demographics of our community that this grant has been helpful in helping has been really new immigrants into the city. We run a program that helps them assess quick skills that they can launch into just getting jobs so that they are not caught up just waiting. So we train them. One of the popular programs we do is this CNA and home ed training. And when we train them, we want them to assess job immediately, and assessing job means being able to access internet and see jobs, send emails and receive, and all of that. So that's something that they are one demographic that has really benefited a lot from just the initiative to empower them along these lines. We also have programs for the elderly. We started a program 4 years ago in the midst of COVID, which we call Chop and Connect. It's our demographic is Africans. It's a very communal people. So one of the things we noticed during COVID, of course, was that everybody stayed at home, and particularly for our elderly folks, it was bringing so many other things. Depression and anxiety was noticeably high amongst them and all of that. So even with all the precautions, we felt the need to get them to what is culturally familiar to them, which is eating. Our running theme for that program was eating together is healing together. So we get them together every week in a space, and we share meals together. We talk stories and share jokes and all of that. And that was helping them deal with the issue of depression, because really for that demographics, most of the people are either mothers and fathers or grandfathers of people who migrated here and are citizens, so they brought their fathers and brought their mothers. They are not working. They don't have the connections we have, but when you connect them to people within the community, they have a better sense of belonging, and they can interact and interface and make friends. And that was what that program was doing for us. But in addition to that, of course, when they leave the program and go back home, maybe before another week, they need to constantly be in touch with friends they have made in the program and stuff like that. And for communities like ours, the app WhatsApp is just God-given, So they interact. So we help them actually show them how they can download that, join some groups. We created groups for them where they can interact, share pictures and all of that. So, they were getting connected on a daily, constant basis, share jokes and share videos and make friends. And so it was really helpful to bridge the gap between when their children are not around and not there for them, because yes, most of their children work double shifts and never see mama or grandma till late in the night and stuff like that. We need to stay them, find ways to get them connected, and that was very helpful for us. The other part of it was also just helping them know how they can do things like telehealth, communicate, be able to exchange email, request med refills and all of that from their primary care doctors and stuff like that. So it was significant to be able to do that for them. And the other demographic that we work very well with are young people. We actually have a program for our young people we call Writing for Writing. It's really a program designed to teach them tools, empower them to communicate for social change. And so some aspects of training, helping them just find value in not just tweeting or putting stuff on TikTok and stuff like that, but putting stuff with a mindset about what is happening in my community, what can I correct by the next tweet I send and stuff like that. So it was a conversation we constantly have in the program, but it also is something that having greater access helps them to do much better and much more. And we share stories about how people have, every 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 13-year-old in this country today have access to some measure of access, either directly or indirectly, to so these social media platforms. So training them on how we can have them use it to make some meaningful impact was helpful for us. And then for those who felt the need to help with tools that can help them do stuff like homework or come to centers where we can help them, where we have internet access, where we can help them with such things. So it was also helpful. So these three demographics in particular, the new immigrants, the seniors, and the youths, have been the core beneficiaries of what we have done through this program. We appreciate the city for supporting us. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Natalie. I'm from the East Boston Social Centers. This grant has allowed us to provide digital equity classes to homebound elders in our community. And it's allowed us to reach new elders within our community who we haven't had access to before. We've uncovered this unmet need with homebound elders. And it's allowed us to prevent social isolation, and they've been very thankful and grateful for it. It's been going well, and we're excited to keep it going throughout the summer. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Hi, I'm Nick Nelson, and I work for Tech Collaborative, and we work in the device distribution and refurbishment section, and we like to give out devices to anybody. And I figured I'd get up here and say something because it seems like a lot of you guys need devices, and we love to help with that. So once it's all done, if you guys can find me, I'd love to just communicate more about it. Awesome.
If anyone else wants to come, you could feel free to come. But otherwise, we'll assume that maybe you don't want to speak in front of a bunch of people on cameras. But I'll just wrap up by saying, again, thank you for taking the time. Again, our apologies for starting late. And I just tell you, like, listening to the work that you guys are doing, and even the acknowledgement that it is when we come together that we have, each of us has a piece of the puzzle that can solve the problems for people that we serve. I think that you make me feel like I have the best job in the world, and it is really an honor to work with you all and to be able to do this work. It is hard, it is complicated. We're at a time that technology in the public sector does not always seem to resonate with good things, but I think that I know that there's a lot of work to be done, and we're really proud to do it with you. And again, we'll reach out with the materials. If you are interested in providing a quote for the press release for the results of the survey and of the digital equity plan, Shelby back there would love to talk to you. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the warm weather. And more to come soon. We're doing a group picture. Group picture? Yeah, we're doing a group picture. So, you know, you're not off the hook yet. Come up to the front and we'll do a group picture, and then you can go and enjoy the beautiful weather.